Hi, I'm Jeff Henderson, and welcome to today's Minute with Maxwell. Our word today is powerful, and that's not a descriptor, that's the actual word, powerful. Recently, my wife Wendy and I took our family to Washington, D.C., arguably the most powerful city in the world, and we did all the tourist things that you're supposed to do. We got a tour of the U.S. Capitol, and I remember turning to my family and going, can't you just feel the power here? Because you've got political parties vying for power. You have politicians and leaders vying for power, all grabbing for power. And ironically, they're doing that in a city named for someone who gave up his power, George Washington. You probably know the story that George Washington decided, as you well know, he decided not to become king, and he relinquished his power. And when word got to King George III, the King of England, when he heard that George Washington was going to release his power, he was rumored to have said this: if George Washington actually does this, he'll be the greatest man in the world. What a statement that is. And what he was talking about, I think what he was describing, is that it's really counterintuitive for someone who has so much power to relinquish it. But what George Washington was showing is that he was actually so powerful as an individual leader that he wasn't willing to allow power to corrupt his character and his heart and his soul, because he knew at some point in every leader's story, you have to relinquish power and not hold on to it, not hoard it for yourself. That's what great leaders do. They leverage their power for the sake of others, and at some point they release it and relinquish it. And when a leader does that, that's powerful. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Jeff, I'm not George Washington. I'm not going to lead something that big. I'm certainly not going to lead something that big either. But you have a role of power in your variety of roles in your life. In fact, let me close with giving you one. That maybe you've never thought of this as a powerful role, but you, in probably some level today, you are going to exhibit power as a customer. You're going to go into a restaurant, maybe a coffee shop. You're going to do business with someone, and you are the customer, and you have power. In that moment, you have an opportunity to release and leverage your power. Yes, the business wants to serve you well, but what if you serve the business by beginning the conversation with the person who comes up to your table, takes your coffee order, whatever it may be? What if you pause and say, hey, thank you for being here. Thank you for working here. Thank you for serving me. Do you know what you do in that moment? You take your power as a customer and you leverage it for their good to encourage them. And when you do that, you become a powerful voice in that person's life. Because what you're doing is you're encouraging them. And encouragement is never small when you're on the receiving end of it. So in whatever role that you might have as a leader today, look for ways to relinquish and release and leverage your power, not for your sake, but for the sake of those around you.